Hello World Wide Web, I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. And as we are all well aware, there is something inherently creepy about the killer doll genre. Mainly because there is something inherently creepy about dolls. Lifeless eyes, not quite right proportions, specifically designed to look overly pleasant, but easily sliding into the good old uncanny valley. Which means it should come as no surprise that there's an entire subgenre of horror dedicated to dolls dealing in demonic death, with none quite as well known as Chucky. Introduced in 1988 in the movie Child's Play, Chucky was loosely based on the My Buddy series of dolls. Not loosely enough, as after this movie My Buddy was seen as exceptionally creepy in sales tanks, but that's probably because the movie is about a toy of similar design coming to life and killing a bunch of people. Still not nearly as bad as the Cabbage Patch dolls that really did try to eat a bunch of kids, but nevertheless, let's take a look at Child's Play and see, is it a doll or an action figure? The story opens on a chase scene. Criminal Charles Lee Ray, played by Brad Dourif, flees from his pursuer, Mike Norris, played by Chris Sarandon, on foot because when shots ring out, Charles' getaway driver, Eddie Caputo, played by Neil Giantholi, decides to say fuck it and leave.
Jack, get the van! Help me! Eddie, don't leave me! God, no!
I mean, I didn't sign up to get shot at, just, perform various crimes. Wounded, Charles heads to a local store, but the door is locked! I've seen plenty of videos talking about how it's not actually all that easy to break a padlock with a bullet, but here, he just picks a deadbolt with one. Mike, on the other hand, uses his bullets to shoot Charles in the chest. So, that's wonderful. I'm gonna spend the opening of the movie fucking dying. Or is he? As it just so happens that this street thug knows some handy-dandy voodoo magic. And, pulling out a good guy's doll, he calls forth dark powers, which envelop the sky in clouds and bring down lightning, which cause the toy store to explode! Mostly look pretty bad from the outside, but it's more disorderly in the interior. Gonna have one hell of a fire sale, but Mike's still alive. Charles, however, is the least lifelike product in that aisle at the moment. And we meet Chucky. Later, first got to establish that he's part of the good guys line of dolls and what that entails.
I've just come from the Good Guy Clubhouse, and I'll be your friend to the end.
A toy that seems to specialize in targeting the market of young, unloved boys with no friends or social skills. Introducing us to Andy, played by Alex Vincent, who would go on to play Andy in 4 out of the 5 appearances in the series.
I saw this one.
Well, since when does that matter? When my nephew was really into Elf, I watched that Will Ferrell movie like 900 times over the course of 2 weeks. Much as he doesn't care for reruns, Andy absolutely loves the Good Guys, wearing his Good Guys pajamas and pouring a big bowl of Good Guys cereal. But what's this? There's a brand new Good Guys doll available now!
Right, Oscar?
Hi, I'm Oscar, and I'm your friend to the end. Heidi-ho! Ha 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 ha! Wow!
Alright, calm down, kid. Try and remember they edited out about 50 takes of the guy there like, right, Oscar? Right, Oscar? Oscar! And the horror starts bright and early as we see the kid make an absolute mess as he delivers this questionably edible offering as breakfast in bed for his mother, Karen Barclay, played by Catherine Hicks. But he has ulterior motives, waking her up at the crack of dawn because, hey, it's his birthday today and he wants to open his presents.
Well, what do you think? You need these clothes so badly. Hey, I think they're going to be okay. We'll just have to take them up just a couple of inches.
But it turns out it was a mere pair of pants! And I guess she was just trolling him by putting it in a big old Good Guys box just to keep his hopes up. But hey, he does get some toys. A Good Guy doll accessory set. Karen's like, sorry, that doll's expensive and we're kinda fucking broke. But that day at work, Karen is approached by her bestest friend in the whole wide world, Maggie, played by Dina Manoff, who tells her, hey, there's a Good Guy doll being sold for dirt cheap out back of the store by some homeless guy, played by Juan Ramirez. But wouldn't you know it, the 2-minute departure from her post has managed to upset her boss, Mr. Criswell, played by Alan Wilder. He's like, hey, guess what? You gotta work overtime, we're short-staffed. Maggie offers to work in Karen's stead, but Boss Man's like, nope, I'm not a haggler, I'm an asshole.
You can take off at 5, but you'll have to be back at 7.
It's my son's birthday.
Mrs. Barclay, are you happy with your job here?
Well, the pay is shit and my boss is a douchebag, but other than that... But while Maggie can't cover Karen's shift, she can look after Andy for her. And even better, Karen's got just barely enough time to head home and give Andy his special surprise birthday present. Thus, Andy shows her just what it can do.
Show me how he works, okay?
Hi, I'm Andy. What's your name? Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end.
Well, if those things really go for $100 in 1988, that kid could have got something way better than a talking doll, just saying. And that's about all the fun Karen's having for today. Gotta head back to work so Maggie can babysit Andy, as he shows Chucky the complex workings of whacking things with a hammer. But Chucky appears to have other interests in mind.
Chucky wants to watch the 9 o'clock news.
Sure he does.
Well, at least the doll didn't ask him to put on Cinemax. So it's time to brush his teeth and then off to bed. But what's this? The doll has somehow wound up propped in front of the TV. Well, it's off to bed. Again. But Maggie's evening gets even creepier when weird noises abound. Sneaking around to find the source of the sounds. She figures, it's probably just the wind.
I'm scaring myself half to death.
And the body count rises. As does that poor individual's car insurance rates. Therefore, by the time Karen makes it back to her apartment, there are police all over the place. Making her way inside, she finds the cops are questioning her child. And even worse.
Miss Peterson's dead, Miss Barkley.
What? How?
I figured the giant gaping hole in your kitchen window would have clued you in. The detective is interested in the more subtle clues, like those footprints found on the spilled flour on the kitchen counter.
They look like footprints, don't they? Very small footprints.
What are you implying?
We're crossing into the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids universe because even Andy's feet are way bigger than that. But don't let little things like motive, physical strength, or glaring problems with scale and dimension stop you. As far as Mike is concerned, Andy is the prime suspect. As such, Karen tells him to get the hell out of her apartment and not talk to her or her son ever again. But that night, Andy notices that Chucky has flour on his shoes. Huh, weird. Almost as weird as the next day when Karen's like, "Hey, Andy, how about you bring your expensive as fuck good guy doll to school with you? I'm sure nothing bad will come of that." But I guess we don't have to worry about the doll getting stolen or confiscated if Andy just decides to say fuck it and leave. Hopping on a train, Andy has no problem crossing the city. Now that's not weird. Think about it. You saw a small child alone on the train. Would you investigate it or say to yourself, "Man, I hope someone does something about that"? Point is, no one lifts a finger, and Chucky manages to guide Andy down to the neighborhood crack house. For you see, on the news earlier, they mentioned that the man who got away did not get away and was in fact arrested, but then he escaped and got away. Eddie's been having a hell of a day.
You stay here. I have to go tinkle.
Just this kid's insistence on trying to get that doll stolen mere minutes after his mother finally got him one. Unsurprisingly, the second his back is turned, whoosh, there goes Chucky. Slightly more surprising, it was into the building. The building where Eddie is hiding out in. And he blows out the pilot light. Okay, so do good guy dolls come with a diaphragm and lungs as standard or what? And by blowing out the pilot light and turning up the gas, the danger of the gas leak will eventually reach Eddie, allowing Chucky to... Or Eddie can just blow himself the fuck up. Because evidently that stove was, like, 20 stoves. Following this, hey, Karen gets called to the police station by Detective Norris.
You haven't been to school to pick up your son yet?
No, I came directly from work. Why?
No, it's like 11 in the morning. He needs an education. Seems after that teensy-tiny gas explosion, the cops found Andy and have been questioning him ever since. Not bad. An illegal interrogation means no matter what, this is inadmissible in court. Either way, Karen lays down the situation for Andy, who insists the doll has been going around and telling him to do things.
Unless you start telling the truth, right now, they're going to take you away from me.
And they're going to put you alone in a room, only taking you out every once in a while to get some exercise and feed you 3 meals a day and make sure you get plenty of sleep. And hey, you know what? I think the kid's onto something. That doll's pretty sus. And he's like, now look, the doll can talk. And of course, Chucky ain't talking right now. Not to worry. Dr. Ardmore, played by Jack Colvin, can say, hey, let's take the kid and throw him in a padded room for a while. Shouldn't be that traumatizing. So Karen must return home. Without her son. Only the damn doll. A constant reminder of one of the strongest cases of buyer's remorse in human history. But what's this? It looks like the doll's batteries were never removed from the box!
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
But honestly, do you have any idea how many batteries electronic toys in the 80s went through? I mean, yeah, it's possessed, but think of the savings! But just because it started moving and talking on its own, it's still not exactly confirmed the thing's alive, so...
I said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut! Did you fuck with me?
Still not convinced. I mean, maybe the manufacturer put the wrong voice box in there. It happens sometimes. Still gotta do something about that whole biting the user in the arm problem with these things, but while Karen keeps Chucky from harming her any further, the doll escapes, fleeing from her apartment building and disappearing from sight. Thus, she immediately heads to the station, approaches Detective Norris, and tells him the doll is alive, and it has escaped. He must help her track it down.
Good night, Mrs. Barton.
Christ, no wonder the kid's fucking loony. As he doesn't believe her, she decides to say fuck it and go find the damn doll herself.
How you gonna do that?
I bought him from a peddler where I work. I'll start there.
That isn't a good part of town to be in at this time of night.
What the fuck are you talking about? You're in Chicago. Is there a good part of town? Heading over to the handy-dandy homeless hamlet, she finds the man quickly enough. Helps he's wearing the same clothes. Demanding to know where he got the doll, he says everything has a price. So she whips out the cash.
Not enough. What else you got?
That's all I've got.
All you got?
Yes!
All you got?
Oh, would you look at that? Turns out this ain't a good part of town after all.
No, wait! No! No! No!
Hey. Oh! Christ, he's a cop!
I caught you all by surprise. Yeah, I understand. At first, I thought he was Prince Humperdinck, too. Wouldn't you know it? Detective Norris just so happened to decide to help Karen out in the nick of time. How convenient. Therefore, they get the scoop. The vagrant got the doll from the burnt-down toy store. So she's intent on going, but Mike implores her that there is nothing to find.
It was struck by lightning the night that Charles Lee Ray died.
How do you know that?
Because I was there. I was the man who killed him.
And it's really dumb luck. He just so happened to be put on your case, too, honestly. Hearing that the dead guy that died is already dead, Karen's like, well, I guess I gotta just go home now. Not that she's completely given up. If Charles Lee Ray died, then he didn't die. He became Chucky. But how? Begrudgingly, Detective Norris provides Karen with Charles' old address, but absolutely refuses to stay up all night chasing ghosts with her.
Why won't you believe me?
Because I'm sane, Mrs. Barkley. Sane and rational.
Police officer destroys frantic Karen with logic and reason. But she's like, aha, you can't just go home and go to bed because your one character flaw is that you are too good at your job. You have to see this through. So Mark heads back to the station like, God damn it, and grabs Charles Lee Ray's file. However, we then spend an inordinate amount of time watching him perform mundane tasks. You know what that means.
Good night, asshole.
Chucky was waiting in the car for murder. Him. But wait! Detective Norris can grab the cigarette lighter and burn Chucky's face. And then crash his car. Not to worry, he can shoot Charles Lee Ray. Again. That's as good as place as any to end this scene, so we can hop over to Karen the next day, checking out Charles' old apartment. Unsurprisingly, he was into some pretty freaky-deaky magic shit. Mike shows up soon after like, yeah, I probably could have told you that. Look, I got his file right here. Seems he spent a lot of time with John Bishop, so-called Dr. Death, played by Ray Oliver. Chucky stops by like, John, how you been? Love the magic you taught me, just, slight problem. You see, I got shot. And somehow that shit hurt and even bled. How the fuck does that work?
The more time you spend in that body, the more human you become.
Man's lucky he didn't possess a pound puppy. Would have went Full Metal Alchemist up in this. But John's not about to help Chucky out of this one.
You perverted everything I've taught you and used it for evil.
Look, I only watched a few harem enemies. The ones with the tentacles. So the man refuses to help Chucky. Oh well, that's nothing a handy-dandy voodoo doll can't solve. Breaking John's leg and his arm, and telling him that he must spill the beans about how Chucky can get a new body, or he will kill him. So he tells him the terrifying secret. Chucky will need to transfer his soul to the first person he revealed the fact that he was alive. Andy.
But I gotta go. I have a date with a 6-year-old boy.
FBI, open up!
Now that that's over with, one stabberino and it is off to find Andy. All this is happening incredibly fast because by the time Detective Norris and Karen make it there, Dr. Death is still alive. This means they just so happen to be able to hear the secret way to kill Chucky. How convenient.
His heart is almost human. It's the only way through the heart.
Well, if that's the case, wouldn't his brain be coming in too? I mean, headshot should do the trick. Wait a while, die of old age. I'm just saying, there's more than one method here. But where is little old Andy? Well, in that nut house, of course, which means his pleas that a walking, talking doll is coming to kill him at this very moment fall on deaf ears, leaving him helpless when Chucky shows up, easily steals a key, because a walking, talking doll ain't exactly odd in the 80s, and enters Andy's room. But what's this? He hid and runs for his life, fleeing into a strangely physical operation room in the mental hospital. He tries to defend himself. But no surprises here, the psych doc is there to fuck everything up and put Andy in the worst positions he possibly can, resulting in the slasher villain becoming an accidental hero, frying the doctor's brain with that handy-dandy shock therapy getup they got kicking around. Oh, fuck this hospital. Oh well, Andy does get the chance to escape, but unfortunately that just means by the time Karen and Detective Norris arrive, Detective Jack Santos, played by Tommy Swerdlow, tells them the story, hey, Karen's son just murdered the fuck out of the good doctor and ran like hell.
I think Andy did it.
I know, the little girl said that Chucky was here and that he was looking for Andy.
Yeah, obviously we did not see that. But allegedly, the original cut of this movie was over 2 hours long, and that scene was in there. But to get it down to a nice feature length, they ended up cutting that and subsequently destroying it, so don't expect an extended cut anytime soon. But fortunately, Karen knows that Andy would go home if he were in trouble. No idea how the lad knows how to navigate there, but never mind that. Point is, Andy makes it home, and Chucky heads there as well, resulting in that classic horror house chase as Andy flees from a psycho killer with a knife, whom, of course, somehow manages to disappear. Before his teleportation powers kick in and he knocks the boy out. Because remember, he's not trying to kill Andy. Well, he is, but by kicking the boy's soul out of the body and taking it for himself. But not so fast. Karen swoops in to save the day, and Detective Norris can keep Chucky at bay.
Karen, are you alright?
I mean, he doesn't, but he could have. Nevertheless, Karen can care for her son while Norris can search for Chucky. Also, poorly. Man, don't you hate it when you are easily overpowered by a 2-foot-tall plushie with a stick? Unlike Chucky, who gets shot. But oh darn it, this is one of those shitty horror guns and it jams instantly, so she must run. And Chucky tackles Karen. But this is shortly before she realizes, hey, wait a minute. This guy weighs like 4 pounds and tosses his ass into the fireplace. But he is fighting to escape, so she must beg Andy to help her start the fire and burn this motherfucker alive.
Andy, no, please. We're friends to the end, remember?
Oh yeah, sure. I'll be your friend to the end. Yeah, sure. All right, friend on my foot and shove it up your ass. How about that? So Chucky burns, spreading the fire around the apartment. But don't worry, this is one of those convenient movie fires and will only burn what the plot decrees. So Chucky reaches a nice char. And the two of them, let's leave it at that. Gotta help Detective Norris after all.
Andy, go get me the first aid kit under the kitchen sink really fast, okay?
What happened?
Okay, so you know you have to destroy the heart. which you didn't. And then you send your son off on an errand on his own, which you easily could have joined him for. And, I mean, it's not just me. It is incredibly painfully obvious what's about to happen here, right? At times like this, I really wish I hadn't retired the head slap. I feel like the brain damage would help. As it turns out, Chucky is still alive, but very badly burned. And man, oh man, is this shot fucking awesome! Karen's not a fan, of course. Must be something about the attempted murder. Well, after enough back and forth, she gets one of those nice revolvers that don't jam and blows Chucky's head off! And his arm! And his leg! My leg?! Man, someone must have failed anatomy. But 2 through the back should work. But what's this? Jack shows up like, hey, what's going on? Killer living doll? Well, that just sounds silly.
Come on, look, it's as dead as they come, it's dead.
And as frustrating as all this is, we must remember they never actually established that she has any idea where the hell the heart is. But Norris does, blowing Chucky away, doll blood splatter going all over the drapes. With that, Chucky finally dies, and proves him right to boot.
You believe me now?
Yeah. But who's gonna believe me?
Dissect the damn doll. The human heart grown in there should be convincing to somebody. Anyway, that was Child's Play. And it's not absolutely perfect, but it's easy to see why it has held onto a fandom for oh so very long. Killer dolls have been a staple in horror probably for as long as dolls have existed. Can't help but feel creeped out when you put eyes on something and the young'uns start insisting they're alive. Child's Play leans into that, of course, but also those fabulous 80s slasher themes. A terror grounded in reality, where the layers are slowly stripped away as the true supernatural horror laid bare manifest, and our protagonist, but only human, must defeat this inconceivable foe. After the opening where an evil spell summoned a magical storm, but never mind that part. As simple of a concept as the quintessential killer doll can be, Child's Play does a great job with it, and being true to its lore. While barely established in the first movie, still, it's said that Charles becomes more and more human the longer he spends in the doll, and indeed, Chucky's design slowly morphs from the off-the-shelf good guys doll into this, creature that vaguely resembles Charles Lee Ray. But as with any movie, there are the low points, and the fact that a good amount of runtime was cut, while standard in movie making, is still noticeable, even to the uninitiated. Callbacks to scenes that don't exist, as well as transitions from situations that didn't happen. It's a bit jarring, and I feel like it might have helped to keep maybe 5 or 10 more minutes of footage in there to smooth out the rough edges. Overall, Child's Play is a classic, well worth your time if you're a fan of killer doll movies who somehow has managed to miss this over the course of the last 36 years. Chucky's a household name for a reason, coming in at 4 toy hammers with real homicidal action out of 5. Thank you all for watching. I have been Dr. Shado, and remember, with that, I think it's about time to kick off the Summer of... Wait a minute. Shit!
Good night, Mrs. Barton.